Saturday night was amazing. I went back
down
and watched
2-0.
on Sunday. Down 2-0. The first goal was a.
Did you see some of the stats? Where like the Stars are like 3 and 30 when trailing after 2 periods. And then they won 3 of their games in these playoffs after trailing after 2 periods. So they won 3 games all year.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
And then to do it against your former team.
A rival and a team rival and your former team, if you're Rantanen, is crazy.
A hat trick. It would have been cool if it wasn't just an empty net at the end, and a natty hattie would have been like actually the game winner as well. It wasn't.
That's the only thing that could have made it cooler, because those first 2 goals, those are like there's 10 guys in the world. Those are video game goals. The first one is where he just is like, I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they had 10 shots through the first 2 periods, and none of it felt creative at all. Like when they don't have Robo and they don't have Miro, it's tough sledding out there as far as creativity goes. And that first goal, he just was like, yeah, here we go. And just skated past everyone, cross ice, and scores. And then the second one, also a video game goal, because that's not supposed to work.
Is that the wraparound one?
Yes, where you're just like, I'm going as hard into the zone as I can to the corner with the intention of wrapping around. And frankly, if the defender doesn't close the gap with his skate, it's not going in. You know, Rantanen's trying to get that to the front of the net.
Have you seen some of the like still shots of that?
His skate is on the board.
Yeah, he's touching the board. This is going to be a goal. Like at the end of this play, it will be a goal.
Those are awesome.
No, there's no way.
Yeah, but again, it felt like on both those that he was just like, the only way we're winning. I'm the only good offensive player out here right now. The only way we're winning is if I just do this. And then, if you go to the one to make it 3-2 on the power play, I didn't look at the score sheet, but I'm pretty sure he got the secondary assist because it was just him to Duchesne to Wyatt. And that was awesome. I mean, it was incredible. And the way they locked down. I did want to say that one of the second Avalanche goal, the McKinnon one, that was awesome. You don't see the guy who comes on the ice when the keeper leaves score that smoothly that often. But it was like, the Avalanche are in the Star zone, and as second as the hand goes up when they show the side, like as soon as goalie's on, McKinnon just like leaks in, and that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the way it all played out with Rantanen getting 3, getting the 2 they needed, being down, one great early in the series. We haven't talked enough about this story, and the truth is, it's because it happened right after Luka got traded. Everything about the Stars is because of that. Like, I love hockey, I honestly do. If it were a bigger part of our culture, it'd probably be my second favorite sport. But it just isn't.
I wondered, did they make that trade in part because of Luka?
I mean, I think at the time we talked about it as such. Yeah, it made sense.
Like they kind of they know they could get the DFW market.
I'm way more interested. And I think going forward, because also,
like, hey, the team we share with, a
building
did this terrible thing. Their fans are canceling season tickets. We are kind of here on the cusp. We're good. But, like, I wonder if there were meetings, like, saying we should pull the trigger. Like, this is all lining up. Perfect. Because, again, Nico, you have to make some decisions, also include marketing and how much money you can make and your fan, the feelings of your fans. It's not all just X's and O's. Now, if it is just X's and O's, Nico, it's still a bad deal what you did. You traded a quarterback for a tight end. But the
yeah, well, I think those meetings happened because I think Jim Nill's really smart, and I think they should happen.
Yeah.
But
hey, let's make a big splash right now. Let's go after the big name.
And
let's just get it done. It's going to hurt us short term, but
when I had thought about the Avalanche,
long term,
because this is because I'm not that big of a hockey fan. I had just always thought of Cale McCarr, Nathan McKinnon, Landeskog, but I guess I didn't realize that Rantanen put up the numbers that he did. But he was also somewhat viewed as he's getting these numbers because of Nathan McKinnon. And like, is he really worth $14, $13 million a year if we think that he's primarily getting these points because of McKinnon. That's not even a good way to put it, but that someone else could chip in and do that for less or something close to that. And then also they're looking at Cale Makar's deal, who I think it's like 2027. But they decided we can have two guys who make 12, 13 million. We can't have three. And I remember at the time when the Stars got him being like, what? Okay, he was in Colorado, but that was like a month ago. He was in Carolina. Like, what happened? How did this all happen? And I figure if he's going to basically will them to a playoff series win against his former team, I wanted to go and learn as much about it as I could. And it is an insane story because just like you just said, you know, the team marketing, the planning side of it, this is viewed as a disaster in Colorado. Like a complete,
awesome,
a massive.
I like being on the other side of that.
A massive disaster because they basically, and they lost the PR game too.
Like that's the kind of trade you want to make. If you're the Lakers, you're like, man, I can't believe the disaster on the other side.
That's why I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So they say they were uncertain that he was going to sign a long-term deal. He's free this summer, or he was until he signed a deal with the Stars.
Heard that before.
Yeah. Now, he says, no, I was willing to work with the team. I didn't need to be the highest paid player, but they do have a tricky spot because Nathan McKinnon signed his deal a couple years ago, and his deal's at $12.6 million a year. McKinnon, I think, ended up signing with Dallas for more than that. So the Avs didn't want to have him making, I guess, in theory, more than McKinnon and also have to pay Cale Makar. In a couple years. So that's the call they made, but he's like a fan favorite. He's a community favorite. He's thought of as like a superstar person in the community. Over the last, let's see, since 21-22, he's fifth in points. So we're talking about like a verified superstar. And they traded him because they didn't think they could re-sign him and they didn't want to, they didn't want to lose him for nothing. But PR-wise, it did not work out well for them at all. Now, the weird part is they moved him to Carolina and took it in the shorts for that. They got back Logan Stankoven. Oh, no, wait. We'll hold off on that part because that's the Stars part. They got back Carolina's top scorer and a few picks. But it was basically just that they wanted to get something instead of nothing. They did not get value for him. From the terms of like what you could have gotten if he had been signed, which he says he would have done. He says he would have done a sign and trade. Also interesting, McKinnon for his part, when he signed in 21-22, one of these articles makes note, before signing that deal in 22, McKinnon talked about taking less than market value on a contract that made him the highest paid player in the league in order to, quote, win with the group. So he did take a little less than he could have, but because he took less, I guess now he's selling it as I took less to keep everyone together. That deal did make him the highest paid player in the National Hockey League. So he, the comments from McKinnon were the ones that really stuck out to me because he's like, never in a million years did I think he'd get moved. Landeskog signed his contract. Like, this is my best friend. We won a cup together, and this is basically nonsense. I can't believe they didn't get this done. So, if the Stars don't win in Game 7, the whole narrative is like, I can't believe the Avalanche overcame their horrible management, blowing up their team and its chemistry in the middle of the season. Because guys like this do not get traded in the middle of the season. But since they lost, now we can be like, the vibes are off. They messed everything up by moving McKinnon's guy. But the crazy part is that he then got moved from Carolina. So apparently Carolina had been looking to get into the mix for a superstar for about 18 months. And they were ready to pay him. They were ready to sign Mikko Rantanen to a long-term deal. So right after he gets traded, Carolina's coach comes out and says, he gave us a list of 4 teams he'd sign a long-term deal with, and we weren't one of them. So we thought, why are we even doing this at this point? They moved him to Dallas. They got a pair of firsts, 3 seconds, and Logan Stankoven, who's a good player, prize prospect. So Carolina actually comes out great in this whole deal.
Because they got a better trade than –
way better, which, again, right now, like
if the Lakers decided to trade Luka?
They would get a better deal.
Yeah.
Like a much, much better deal.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of parallels here. And it's fascinating. It's fascinating from Carolina's standpoint because they're kind of in a position that I was in my head with Luka of like, man, these guys are putting up numbers. Kyrie did he have that resurgence because of Luka? Like, do we really need to pay him $35 million a year? Like, McKinnon's that type of guy where every move they look at, they're like, I don't know, maybe somebody else could hit 40% from three, and maybe we'll try someone else because we got that guy, and it just worked out to the Stars' benefit in this point.
So it might be that he was making them better.
Yeah,
is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, same thing with Nico.
Yeah.
Look at all these good players we have. We'll just sub out Luka for AD, and no. The Luka was making them actually better.
And the fact that that he came through against that team in that scenario, you can't write it. So it's a really cool story from a sports transaction background to the fact that the guy just plays like a video game player that you got control of, and the rest of the game broke for a minute. It's a fun night.
It seemed like the Stars broke the Avalanche because they were so bummed in the post game because they were aware that the Stars didn't have two of their better players.
And so, you know what? I didn't even mention that part. You bring him in to give you offensive punch, and you're thinking if Robertson goes down, we still have a dude who can get nifty with it. And the fact that he did, and they did it without both those guys, and now you're resting while the other series goes.
You get reinforcements.
That's awesome. This could be very, very exciting.